Let's get into creating a solid team. Now, of course, when you're first starting your business, you are everything in your business. You are the marketer, you are social media, you are admin, you are sales, and everything else that it takes to be able to bring that event to life, right? For your client. But know that that is normal. And it may be a while before you're really able to bring in the team that you need or those key players. And it's also okay for you to grow gradually, not to hire a lot of people at once, or if your business really doesn't call for that at the time, because what you're doing is really cutting into your profit, not just your time, but your profit. So it may be where you have a couple of more hours that you're able to put into the business to where you don't need someone to do your social media, not just because you don't enjoy it or like that particular task. Again, you want to make sure that you're bringing in your team players when they are necessary. Let's share a couple of things. One, what my current team is, and then also how you can build out your team based off of the actual project needs. So, of course, in event production is not that you usually have a calendar full of back-to-back events every single month, or that you need a full team to carry you throughout the year. It may be that you just need team members based on the project or a certain time throughout the year. So let's talk about my team. There are about 5 core members of my team that I have. I have my right hand and my left hand. Those are 2 separate peoples on my team. One of the services that we provide is our coat check. And so I have a coat check manager. I also have a social media manager. But she also does our graphic designs. I have someone who oversees our registration portion of our larger events. And then we also have our speaker and talent concierge. Again, some of these are overlapping roles, but again, those 5 core persons that I'm talking about usually take lead on those particular items, right? And just a plethora of other things. And all of these people that I also mentioned are event day leads and also assistants throughout the planning process. So it may be that they do a little bit of admin work for me, right? For example, who do you have available on your team right now that is really good with research, has a couple of extra hours that they can work? Maybe that may be a great person for you to use for venue research, right? Or you may have to go out and do venue searches for a plethora of different options to be able to provide to your client. Having someone on your team currently, they can go and do that. You don't have to hire somebody out for that. They can then go back and put everything in a comparison form, Excel or whatever, system that you guys would like to use to be able to provide that and present it to your clients for them to be able to pick their venue. So again, just think about who you currently have and what are some of those assignments and tasks that you need for your business based off of the actual project, not just you wanting to fulfill a slot, right? So that's one of the tips that I'll give you guys for when you're looking to build your teams. So let's talk about hiring and management of your team members. As we stated, some events don't really call for a large team, but even if it is a small team, it is your responsibility as the lead or the event producer to be able to inform your team as best as possible with all of the things that are going to be able to that will be coming at them on event days so that they can execute in the manner and the way that you need for them to, right? So, example, if you have the speaker concierge as one of the main roles that you need for your event or your conference that's coming up, Of course, you're not going to be able to do those tasks as the actual event producer because you're going to be taking care of the client. You're going to be making sure all of the vendors are okay. You need to be able to kind of flow throughout the event and not have one stationary duty. So for the speaker concierge, when you're looking to bring that person on, you have to be able to empower them to be able to make those decisions in your absence. But are they fully informed on what those needs are? Are you giving them all of the information that they need to be able to execute? Do they have the timelines? Have you guys reviewed the timeline together? Have you allowed for them to be able to give their input for things that they may need to be able to take care of the speakers? Example, mini water bottles for the stage. Who's responsible for that? Is that you as the event producer, or is that your speaker concierge? So again, just kind of going through some of those tasks with them to make sure that they are okay and they're able to do their job. Who needs a printer? Would the speaker concierge need a speaker? Need a printer? Or does that need to be in your event office for the day? Does the venue have access to it? Again, as the producer, you'll be thinking of these things, but you knowing and having these answers for your team members will allow them to be able to execute in the manner that you need for them to do. So it's really important when you are looking at adding those different team members on board. Okay, so a couple of documents that I like to have all of my contractors to sign. Again, we use this word all the time, and you've heard me say it, onboarding. So onboarding is something that I also do with the contractors that I hire for my particular team for event days. So again, for instance, if I am bringing on someone to do let's say the registration lead, though she's again, that is a role that we actually have in our team currently. But if I was bringing on someone to be an assistant even to my registration lead, they would have to go through an onboarding process. Okay, with that they have to sign a couple of documents, one being a non-compete. We also get them to sign an NDA, which is a disclosure agreement, a non-disclosure agreement. We also have them to do to fill out a form that I absolutely love. It's called Things That I Should Know. And on that form, again, we will share some of these details with you. But on that form, I have them to fill out their T-shirt size, their address, their what type of flowers do they like, what is their favorite stores, what is their favorite flower, all of these things. Because as I have discussed, my team is the most important to me. Let's talk about that flow again. It is my team, my vendor partners, and then my clients. So when we do bring on contractors, again, that is one of the forms that I absolutely love for them to fill out because it allows me to gift them for future birthdays, event, just appreciation gifts or whatever. So that's one of the forms that we use. And the very last thing that I make sure that all of my contractors have is their own general liability insurance. And it's usually that I'm hiring someone that has a company or LLC in place to where they're able to actually go and get or have already that general liability insurance the same as my company does. Because again, when you're hiring contractors, they are coming on board, but they should be responsible for their own insurance and hold their own policy that would not be a part of your particular insurance. As the lead of your team, your core team that is running your event, I think one of the best skills that a manager or a producer has to have is that I call it DTV, right? You delegate, you trust, and you verify. DTV. Delegate a task to whoever your team member is. Trust that they are going to get the task done. And the last thing you do is to verify that it's done. And it can be something so simple. Let's take it back to when we were talking about preparing the stage for the speakers, right? So for our stagehand or our production assistants that we have with the AV company, that may be one of their responsibilities, to make sure that the water bottles are changed out throughout the programming, that they make sure that they go and reset the pillows, that they are going and making sure that there isn't any lint or things are picked up on the stage. Again, you have to delegate the trust. These are things that you've talked about in your planning meetings. These are things that you talk about through the walkthrough. These are expectations that have already been set, right? You delegate that task. You trust that they're going to do it, and you can simply verify by walking past the stage randomly or seeing how much water you have backstage, and asking them, "Hey, did you get to do da 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 da?" And of course, that's simple. Delegate, trust, and verify. With your teams, I want to talk about the possibility of burnout, which is a real thing. You don't want to overwork your team. So you really need to know what the capacity and what your bandwidth is of being able to complete a calendar year. As we talked about, a lot of the people who may be a part of your day of team, or even, a part of your team that is helping you throughout the planning process, they may have a full-time job, or they may be working for you part-time, or you may be the full-time job that they have. Wherever you are in your business, make sure that you don't overexert yourself, but you also don't overexert your team. You will have a high turnover if you do that. So keep the dialogue open, keep communication open, and see what also feels good to them, or if it is time to grow the team. But have these type of conversations, so that way you're growing the team and you're not doing a full-on burnout. Because when you're burnt out, what happens? You stop doing it, you get tired of doing it, or you walk away from it. So of course, your team being the number one is the most important. So make sure that you are having those conversations to avoid burnout for yourself and for them. All right, so again, a call to action after this lesson. I want you guys to do this. Again, it is a mandatory request that I am putting in. I want you to look at your current team and see, who do you have who can do more? Who do you have who's interested in new things that your actual business may need? For instance, if we're talking about social media, is it anyone on your team who does really good with graphics, or is great in Canva, who can make you a couple of stories or reels or things of that nature? You may have the people that you already need to elevate you to the next level. So what I want you to do again is take inventory of your current team and where you want to go next in your business, and go back and revisit that with your team to see who can step up or who you can help grow actually in that particular area of their career. So that can even go a little bit further for people who aren't helping you already. Think of how you can widen that net just a little bit more. It may be friends, family that are looking to make a couple of extra dollars, who have a little extra time, on the weekends or even weekdays after the kiddies go to school, whatever that is. Just let them know, hey, I have an opportunity. It's one of, the expansions of the business. Are you interested in being a part? You never know. But someone who's timely, who's organized in your family or your friends, or you've had a conversation with them that they're ready for a pivot, they're ready for a next chapter. You may be the one that's able to give them the opportunity. Who knows? So do your task, write it down.